This is Goku-san, DBZ, and welcome back. This is a new game review. And this is a game review, as you see in the background. This is a game review for Sea of Solitude, which I just finished playing today. So with that said, you can expect my next game review will be the first Game Pass review. Of course, that being for Sea of Solitude. But this is the review for, well, Sea of Thieves, the next one. This one is for Sea of Solitude, and I hope you enjoy the music from Sea of Solitude. Sea of Solitude is a game from, of course, a branch out smaller studio and thing of indie developers, unfortunately partially funded by, of course, Electronic Arts, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Part of a series called Electronic Arts Originals. Now, this game was brought to us and developed by a smaller indie studio from Germany, from Deutschland. And you could tell from the voice acting work, the English dub and stuff, you can tell with the heavy European accents. Some accents predominantly sound like Dutch, German accent, though some kind of sound a little bit French, but makes sense overall with the German accent since it is a German developer. With that said, story, if you played these sorts of artsy indie games or psychological type games before, you're gonna know more or less the perspective and direction that the game is coming from. It very much has to do with, of course, the main character, Kay, and the fact is, obviously, these big creatures you will come face to face with. Which you have a couple of them. You have one main one which you need to avoid, of course, being the big giant fish creature, which will eat you if you do not swim from section to section in time and get out of the water fast enough. As well as, of course, you have other creatures you will come face to face with, like a giant creature in a shell. You will also come face to face with a giant, like, tentacle type creature. Also, one that is weird design, like a warped version of a, chameleon. As well as you have, of course, towards the end of the game, a creature in more or less the form of a wolf. And each of these and also a big giant bird. Each of these creatures represents, of course, a person from Kay's life. And she mostly has forgotten a lot of things from her real life. And as you progress through the game, obviously, and come face to face with these creatures, and with each creature, you will have different elements of challenges and threats that you will have to fight. Now, of course, you won't have any normal weapons or anything because this is an artsy indie, platformer slash puzzle game. Like many of the popular out there indie artsy games, most predominantly tend to be a platformer slash puzzle game. Which I gotta admit, I do, over the last few years, I've really become obsessed over this subgenre or genre of indie games, the artsy platformer. With, of course, obviously, puzzles mixed in for a little extra challenge. I appreciate these games for one reason, because it requires actually using actual intelligence, actually using your brain to actually make progression in the game, and in order to really make it anywhere in the game for the most part. And I really appreciate that. And that's something I always look forward to, and I always enjoy, is games that actually require at least a certain level of intelligence in order to make it through the game. And that's one thing I've always enjoyed about puzzle games. Of course, platformers, I just feel, frankly, in general, at puzzle always seems to go very well hand in hand with platformers, in my personal opinion. But to each their own. But this is my favorite like sub style of indie game, hands down. It's always been, especially of course, if you've noticed in most indie games, platformers have always been like the big thing for indie. It's because it's easier money wise to produce, but obviously with the graphics, the game looks really superb. A lot of the time in the game, it's going to be darker tones, more black or browns color wise, but that's to go with the atmosphere, the feel, and the music does a very good job as well for as a progression with the story and elements in the game. I think overall the music compositions do very well with the characters and for what is supposed to be related through the music and stuff for the atmosphere and the other elements in the game. These are big key elements in Sea of Solitude. In my personal opinion, this game is superb. It is more than worth the $20 asking price of the game, $19.99. Then after tax, so actually about 21 some, but it is more than worth the $20 price tag that it costs. The music is top notch. The puzzles are actually, some of the puzzles are very easy, other puzzles are a little more challenging, but each puzzle requires different elements of gameplay and different tools that you have at your disposal, or rather selected type of ability, and it requires that. Some stuff requires more about timing and speed. And at times it can get a little bit difficult with certain elements and certain things because of like the environment can play a big role into definitely some of the puzzles and elements in the game. And you learn through the game, of course, that the game really is about Kay, the main character. And you realize the importance of these monsters as she does throughout the game together. And you realize, and it helps you understand things a little bit better. But you will, of course, understand if you play these types of games, you will catch on faster than obviously the character will. But I think overall the game was done very well. It's very well paced. The art is drop dead gorgeous overall. And also in parts of the game when it isn't so depressing and stuff, like very bright and vibrant colors, combined with the music, with the animation, cel art style, certain parts in the game while I was in the boat, going through the water and stuff, looking at the beautiful blue sky, the beautiful ocean stuff, I felt a certain relaxation, a certain feeling that I haven't gotten from a game in quite some time. Really, the last game I can think of I really enjoyed from an artistic standpoint, music, and definitely the art is probably Rime, which was my number one favorite game of 2017, which was also a puzzle platformer. Though I think Rime's gameplay wise is maybe a little less clunky than Sea of Solitude, but to be fair, also Rime was like a $30 or $40 game when it came out, where Sea of Solitude is a $20 game. So, there are pros with cons, and also overall length of the game. Sea of Solitude is a lot shorter than Rime. Rime overall took me probably, what, at least probably 10 hours plus to beat Rime. So a pretty decent length overall indie game. On the other hand, Sea of Solitude probably took me about 4 to 4.5 hours to complete, which is still not a bad game. I mean, if you want a speed run or something, you can have a good challenge. I've seen a couple speedrunners beat the game in under 2.5 hours. But as for me, I prefer to actually explore and look at the environment and stuff and just intake the art, the music, just enjoy the experience more so than just about speedrunning. I've never been one of those speedrunner type people. I mean, heck, more power to you if you like those type of like speedrun challenges and stuff. But for me, if I'm playing a game, especially like Sea of Solitude, I'm in it for the experience. That's the big element about for me and Sea of Solitude. Now, with that said, this game, I have to say, of course, I give a very high recommendation on. There were a few elements I had issues of here and there occasionally, a couple of problems. I'm not sure you may see it in some of the record gameplay, which you can expect probably towards the end of this week, the first part of my playthrough of the game to be uploaded, as well as the rest this week. You can expect the rest of my playthrough of story mode of Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Hope you enjoyed that. And on my new rating scale, I give Sea of Solitude a A minus, which is of course great. Getting an A minus, not an A plus, but it's only because of a few things. If it wasn't just for like one or two things here or there, I probably would have given it an A plus. But still, as stands, A minus is superb. And quickly, I give a little rain of my rain system of a previous game I did a playthrough overall gameplay wise, Samurai Showdown. I give Samurai Showdown an A plus. So congrats. But with that said, this is Goku-san DBZ. I hope you enjoyed this a little bit of a game review, a little discussion slash reflection on this wonderful, beautiful, fantastic indie game, Sea of Solitude. And stay tuned in the near future for my first, of course, Game Pass review, and that being on Sea of Solitude. Sea of Solitude. Sea of Thieves. I'm getting confused because both have C in their titles. My bad. And both sell shit art cells, funny enough. But I'll see y'all next time. And if you are interested in Sea of Solitude, get it. I believe it's available on Nintendo Switch. It's on PC, it's on Xbox, and it's on PS. So it's on pretty much every platform. And for $20, it's more than worth the experience. And if you're a trophy hunter, this is actually a good game. There's definitely some good trophies you can get out of it. Definitely quite a few good gold and silver trophies. So with that said, I'll see y'all next time.